Milk Bottle Audio presents The Museum of Tat,
and Kitsch.
devised by Robert Crichton, with Michael Foles. Hello and welcome to the Museum of Tat. I'm Professor Geoffrey Collins, curator of the Museum of Tat.
And Kitsch.
And this is Professor Colin Jeffreys, outgoing Professor of Tat at Sheffield University.
Hello.
First, I should say that a lot of changes have occurred since the last series, haven't they?
Yes.
We've merged with the kitsch collective, which means we've taken on 400 tons of kitsch to our collection.
They appeared on the doorstep in black bin liners one morning. So,
Yes, that was rather annoying. Upset the neighbours, really, didn't it?
Well, they weren't.
They weren't very happy.
No.
Which means we're no longer the Museum of Tat. We are the Museum of Tat and Kitsch.
Motac.
What?
Motac. M-O...
This was agreed with the government to help protect our grant.
Well, that was before the election.
Yes. After the election, the Museum of Tat also lost 95% of its government grant in the last round of funding cuts, and so has to pay its way through a forward-thinking series of outreaches to the business community.
Sponsors.
Yes, so we're proud to announce that this episode of the Museum of Tat
And Kitsch.
is in partnership
Sponsored.
by Barry's Sewage Plant Hire Company, pumping away your troubles since 1987.
We smell like shit, so you don't have to.
Also, to help raise funds to keep the collection together, we're selling off the choice items featured in the series. So if you're interested in owning a piece of your very own tat, then go to the blog now and see how you can bid for tonight's item. Well, which tonight is 2 items. To open the series, we have 2 beautiful pieces of ceramic porcelain things. Let's start with this particular figurine. If you could, how would you describe it?
Well, if I was forced to describe it,
As I am.
well, yeah, it looks like a late. I don't know if it's a fairy. It's a small figurine or pixie.
Figurine. Just using the Transformers warrior robots in disguise ruler here to just see how high it is, and it's almost exactly 4 inches high. So
Good height.
with a wingspan on the fairy wings of about 2.5 inches. So that's quite a wingspan actually for a figurine, a girl. You say?
Yes. A
fairy girl.
Fairy girl.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yes.
She has no ears. That's the first thing that.
The first thing you noticed.
The first thing I noticed.
I think the first thing I noticed is its naive, satanic eyes.
They are evil, but then fairies often are, aren't they?
Yeah, the red lips is quite disturbing, I find. Yeah, and the fact that her arms are outstretched as if she's holding on to something, and I don't know. There's nothing there for her to hold on to.
No. I mean, we possibly think the original piece has been separated in transit, so there was something there, perhaps. Aubergine or whatever.
A marrow.
Yes,
I think a marrow might be the answer there,
Might
and I think that would probably improve the figurine no end, just because of the reason why it's tat. I think we can say this safely.
Oh yes, of course.
Is it's so appallingly made.
Oh,
I mean, who thought that this was adequate? This is the question.
Well, I think if it was adequate, it would be an improvement. The painting, for a start, is I don't know if perhaps some mother got her child to do it.
Yes, but the thing is, with a lot of the tat that we see, and we're going to come to that with the second item of porcelain that we have today. Usually, when they're constructed with slave labour, you get a far better quality paint job than this.
Yes.
It feels fragile, it feels clumsy, it looks like it will break in your hands any second now.
Well, we can hope.
And I'd like to point out, I purchased this and the second figurine at a garage sale, and I was going round with a friend, and I stood there and I held these 2 items up to her and said, which one does she prefer? And she looked at me like I was insane. But because we were at somebody's house, she couldn't say that out loud, and pointed at this other piece, which I think we'll move on to now.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we've been here before in the snow globe from the last series. Yeah.
Yes.
Now this is again a round base, 2 figures. It's a little over 4 inches high, so it's slightly larger than the terrifying Marrow holding fairy, and it's 2 children.
Yep.
2 children.
I can confirm.
Yeah, and they're holding hands, and her eyes are closed, and he's looking at her. And would you describe the look on his face?
There looks to be sadistic intent there.
There does. And are her eyes closed because of fear and terror?
Oh, she's holding her chest like something is.
He's about to do what he always does.
Oh.
And I don't know if this is even more scary, is the fact that her legs appear to be turning into a clump of weeds.
Yeah, they do.
She's actually, I think it's very clear that this is some kind of satanic creature in disguise that is turning her into a plant.
Yes.
And she knows it. And that's why her eyes are so...
And he does have his hand in his pocket, which looks
Yes,
suspiciously...
that's the thing. His left hand is in his pocket, and he's obviously playing pocket billiards.
Yep.
While his other hand is not actually touching hers.
Oh, no, it's not.
No, it's not. It should be, but there is actually a span. I can just get the Transformers Warrior Robots in Disguise ruler in between the hands.
Yep.
So he's not actually holding her hand. It's like he's about to hold her hand. And I think that's what makes it even more sinister.
Are there any markings? No, nothing.
No,
To let us know what the maker was?
It looks like it's a cheap home clay that you might use with children, which makes it even more sinister and unnerving. I mean, you look at the 2,
if I must,
and our fairy Marrow holder.
Yes. Without the Marrow.
Without the Marrow. I mean, technically, that is a far worse figurine.
Yes.
It's really badly made.
Yes, it is.
It's really crude. It's really nasty. And yet...
Being crude if it had the Marrow.
It would be even... Well, and we were assuming it's a Marrow.
Oh, well, of course.
I mean, it could be something far worse.
But yes.
But that is far less unnerving than this, which is technically slightly better made.
Yes. I mean...
But which isn't quite so... Which is just so much more terrifying, really.
Yes.
And both these items, I'd like to say, I purchased these for 50p each. Each.
Wow.
Each. So I feel doubly robbed, really.
Yes. You should. Yes.
That, there was no price differential between the 2. These are really quite truly horrible in so many ways. And you look at the base of the fairy. We're looking at the base of the fairy now, and it's not even a proper finish, is it?
No.
It's very rough.
See, the base is like this grassy, mossy thing, which they painted on top, and then they get to the bottom, and they've just left it.
It's just left it, and with nasty green lines around it.
And it wouldn't have taken much to just
and there's this odd depression at the very front where presumably the Marrow sat. The end of the Marrow sat. So
yes,
there's a projection going through the hands. So
there certainly was something there.
Something very long, some long cylindrical item.
Yes, long and solid, and which she's happy to hold. But,
happy to hold with that nose, which is just so sharp. I mean, you could take somebody's eye out with that nose.
Well, we could try it. Tell the listeners next time.
Okay. Well, if you'd just like to lean back. Okay. And ready?
Yep.
I think we're going to have to stop the recording there, ladies and gentlemen, while we just get something to. Yes. Okay. I don't think our insurance actually covers that. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to own these particularly terrible items, they will be sold separately on eBay very soon. Go to our blog and have a look. That's the Museum of Tat. And that's it for our first episode. I'm going to take Colin now to hospital to have his eye looked at.
Mother, it hurts.
There. Thank you very much. Goodbye. The Museum of Tat can now be found on Twitter at Museum of Tat.